What's going on, guys? It's Thomas and PJ back for the fourth ever episode of Nintendo Tonight, the only Nintendo podcast where we are going to go for 4 episodes straight of, only talking about Super Mario 3D World. That's actually the only thing we're going to talk about. We're going to be effectively renaming the podcast to 3D World Tonight. So look forward to that on the fifth episode. Yeah, this is going to be the 3D World specific episode, just like the last three. If you hadn't, I couldn't already. Okay, enough with that. No, we have a lot of good stuff we're going to talk about today. Not just 3D World, although there will be some 3D World discussion in there. For the first segment, we're going to talk about the changes we want to see made to the Breath of the Wild sequel because that was announced at E3 last year. It's going to be it's going to be when it should have been E3 this year. So I mean, might as well talk about that because it's been a year with no news on that game. Then, where the 3D World discussion could come in, we're going to talk about the Super Mario 35th Anniversary All-Stars. All those rumors and whatnot. And just gonna kind of wrap up our discussion on those. We're gonna talk about how we think they will actually, give us those games, whether or not we'll get those games in a like a one big collection of all of them or individually ported. We're just gonna discuss that. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to answer your guys' questions. We do it every podcast, and we'll answer your questions that you guys have sent us either on Twitter at Nintendo Tonight or on the YouTube channel. And that actually, kind of segues me into a pretty big announcement. If you watch or listen to this podcast, I should say, on iTunes or Spotify, then this will not affect you. Just make sure you're, still subscribed on those social medias. But if you listen to this podcast via YouTube, then there's actually going to be a pretty big change coming to how you listen to the podcast. Essentially, we're no longer going to be uploading this on the Switch Stop main channel. We're going to be uploading all these episodes on the Nintendo Tonight specific channel. This has kind of always been the plan. We're ending up, doing it like sooner than we thought we would, but
Yep.
this is just so the Switch Stop main channel is because the podcast isn't for everyone, which is 100% fine, like fair enough. And we don't want to crowd up people's like sub boxes if they're, only subscribed to Switch Stop for the like normal videos. So yeah, it's just one extra, click to make sure you get the podcast sent to your notification now. But I mean, hey, it should just make it better for everyone.
Yeah, and it's just going to be just better for our viewers in general because just for example, like this time around, I think the cycle is going to be podcast episode 3, regular video, and then another podcast episode. So, when Thomas was still in school, which, you're done now for the year, which is really good
Thank
for
God, let's go.
everything. Yeah. Sometimes we didn't have time to have a lot of videos up in that month, and when the podcast time like came around, it just didn't give enough space, and you can even see that in the views. I mean, like that Pokemon video I think should have done a lot better than it did, but I feel like it's almost like the podcast sometimes makes the views go down for like videos that aren't like 3D Mario like based, I guess. I've kind of seemed to notice. That's just me, but moving it to the other channel is going to be good. We're also eventually going to be uploading like highlights on there too, in case you just want to get like a little sneak peek into it and not want to commit to the whole 50-minute thing. And that's another thing as well, if I'm thinking about it. Going from the regular Switch Stop videos, like 10 minutes and definitely under. It's normally what we shoot for. Nothing over 10 minutes usually, and the podcasts are just randomly like 40 plus minutes like every time. So
Yes, it's pretty weird.
It's definitely a big change. So we understand why the views are down for those videos, but yeah, we're just gonna be making that change over, and I hope you guys do stick around. And for those of you that enjoy the podcast, you guys come over and keep watching it, I guess. So
yeah,
yep.
I mean, it's really not a big deal.
Yep.
At all. It's just that's some insight as to why we're doing it. With that out of the way, there's really not much else we need to say on that front. It should be linked in the description. The channel should be at least.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, with that out of the way, we can just jump into Breath of the Wild 2 discussion. Yeah, okay. So I'll go first. Changes I want to see made for Breath of the Wild 2, where there's actually one of the main things that Breath of the Wild kind of annoyed me about was how they kind of treated the 100% completionist kind of treated the completionist like a bit of an afterthought for the game. And I mean this because in the game you could get Korok seeds that would allow you to expand your inventory. You could carry more weapons and carry more articles of clothing and whatnot. Now you would think that and you could also, speaking of clothing, you could upgrade various articles of clothing for better like defense stats and whatnot via the great fairy fountains. So like as a completionist myself, like I was originally going to try and 100% Breath of the Wild, because this was back when that was pretty much the only thing on the Switch. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna try and get every single article of clothing, upgrade everything, and there's a lot of stuff to do in that game, so that's obviously not an easy task. However, when I looked it up, the game just completely like doesn't you know work for that type of player. There's not enough inventory space to hold one of everything. So it like even when you 100% max it out, so there's no way to like even if you did work that hard and had one of every single clothing item upgraded to the max, there's like no point in doing that, if that makes sense, because you can't even hold them all at once. So I'd like to see Breath of the Wild 2 just for one thing, just kind of work more to be like more inviting and opening to the 100% player, because that was like I really did enjoy Breath of the Wild and I might still 100% it one day, but like as soon as I learned that the game wasn't tailored towards that style of gameplay, it just really turned me off from investing that much time into it.
Yeah, I didn't really look into any of that stuff, at least like from the time that I played the game. So, I mean, I think that's good for your standpoint at least. But I kind of want to talk about, like we're in sort of a unique position because we haven't had like, I don't know if I'd consider it this or I might be wrong. You can correct me, but I don't think we've had like a set sequel to like a Zelda game for like a while. Like the entire timeline
Yeah.
of it is very, very confusing, and I'm not even going to try to explain the chronological order of the Zelda universe. I mean, you can do that own research for yourself, listeners, but I don't
Of
recommend it.
course.
But we're kind of in a unique position here. Talk about like could they reuse like a similar map to Breath of the Wild, like the first edition, or if they're just gonna go with something like entirely new and like how they're gonna like attack that story, I guess, this time around. So, like, what do you think? Do you think they're gonna like expand the current map and just keep it like similar, or do you think they're just gonna like almost start from scratch and just like make something bigger and better than the first one?
Mm.
Because I think obviously that open world concept that everyone I think loved in the first Breath of the Wild game is a quality that is very 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 loved by Zelda fans, at least I mean I think.
Yeah. There's so many different ways that they could go for this. I'm just gonna, spit off a few, just rattle them off. Well, first of all, yeah, you're right in terms of sequels. I mean, technically, like Majora's Mask was a sequel to
Yeah,
Ocarina
but
of
that's
Time,
like
but
really
that's
old.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's
mad
what I meant.
old.
Recently, I don't think we've had any
Recent,
sort of
yeah,
like
recently
said sequel. Yeah,
For 3D Zelda, there wasn't any.
yeah,
I guess there was Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds on the
right,
3DS, which was a sequel to the SNES game, but that's also
right,
really
right.
old. So anyway, just in terms of what I think they could do for the world, I do not think they're gonna Control C, Control V the world over. I don't think the Zelda team would just reuse an entire map for this game. However, I do think they'll reuse the blueprint for it. So I think major
Mm-hmm.
structures will stay probably where they are. So I think Hyrule Castle will stay in the same general location. I think maybe Zora's Domain, Gerudo Valley, or whatever that village is called.
All right,
The Rito Village. I think all those, probably Death Mountain, will stay similar spots. Maybe even the Great Plateau will stay. But then I think a lot of the actual like nature of the world will be altered and stuff. I think it'll be like kind of a 1.5 style,
mm-hmm.
like, so it's not a completely new map. You can see, you could see the inspiration took from the original, but it's definitely not just Control C, Control V. But the one other thing I want to mention is in that reveal trailer, they were in some sort of, or they were in what I assume to be some sort of like cave system.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a thing at all in the original Breath of the Wild. So what if they take exactly the same map, or not exactly, but pretty much the same map, and then expand on it, not by making it like bigger in terms of x and y, like when you look at it like on a graph, like not by making
Right.
the longitude or latitude, but like making it like more height based. So like you can go into the caves, like a cave system, and then there's like a whole giant like underground area thing that you can explore. Or like maybe you can jump into like a portal and visit, like how a Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past had, Hyrule and I forget what it's called, like Low Rule. Maybe that was A Link Between Worlds. I don't remember, but I know there's like the Dark World, and there's a bunch of
Right,
different
right.
Zelda
I know
games
what you're
that have.
talking. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know what
I
you're
I don't
talking
know
about.
exactly.
I get what you're trying to say. Um, I do forget the game, but I know what you're talking about. I'm sure the Zelda fans are like, dude, what are you guys doing? But
Bro,
no,
yeah, I know
I get what
exactly
you're
what it
saying.
is.
Yeah,
I can picture it in my head.
yeah.
It's A Link to the Past
Yes, yes. Yeah, there you go.
has I just forget what it's, is it called like the Dark World? I think it is.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. But
But I know what you
yeah.
mean though. Like that trailer when I first saw it, like it gave me like really eerie vibes. And I kind of feel like they might go with that theme into this next game, which I would totally be okay with. I mean, like I think
Oh,
just that
100%.
that sort of like atmosphere would just be like super sick and unique for Zelda. You know, obviously doing something even more different than they did the first time, and so far fans have loved it. And what I mean by different the first time is, opening it to open world, obviously.
Of
And,
course.
that whole concept was really loved, as I, just mentioned a second ago. So, I think that that could definitely be a possibility. I think maybe they take that concept and just expand with it and, run with it and make it even better. So, I mean, we'll have to see when we get more news about this in, 2021, I'd assume. I don't know. But, it should be very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see the direction that they take it. There's so
Hmm.
many ways that they could go after a game that was as well received as Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I hate coming away from games with this sentiment, but it's the same sort of thing I feel with Pokemon. I feel like Breath of the Wild was really good, but I feel like the next one, like I even felt this as I played it. I felt, hey, this game is phenomenal. The next one could be potentially like GOAT, greatest game of all time, because like Nintendo open world, they don't really mesh much. Nintendo doesn't do a ton of open world stuff. So the to see that they got like Breath of the Wild so right, there were just really, it was just like minor things that like brought down my overall enjoyment from
Hmm.
me saying like, hey, like I'm not confident in saying Breath of the Wild is a perfect game, because I think there are very, very few perfect games, like maybe none at all. But
Yeah.
even 3D World, as much as it pains me to say that, 3D World has many problems, even though
Yeah.
it's the greatest game ever made. No, there's like there's so much that could be improved on Breath of the Wild, and not to say there's so much wrong with it, but there's so much that could be improved, that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I'm so excited to see what Nintendo does. Because if they got Breath of the Wild that right, like imagine what they could do with like a second swing where they can learn from their mistakes. And just to like, I don't want to turn this into a Pokemon discussion, but I kind of feel the same way about Sword and Shield, just with a
Hmm.
less like enthusiastic, because they should have, like, Breath of the Wild, I would say, is like I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10, because that makes me think that I'm saying it's a perfect game.
Hmm.
But I'd say Breath of the Wild is a 9 out of 10. So to improve upon that, the next game would be a 10 out of 10. I'd say Sword and Shield is about a 6 out of 10, maybe 7.
Yeah.
So to improve upon that, like then it could be an 8, which is still a deep, very good game. But like I'm not as enthusiastic for the Sword and Shield sequel, because I'm not 100% convinced the Pokemon Company will knock it out of the park. But
Hmm.
I mean, it gives off that same sort of vibe where it's like, hey, they're clearly just learning how to develop for an HD console. Like, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying this is why. Like, it's an explanation, not an excuse, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's my general thoughts.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister, by the way. Sword and Shield sequel.
Mm,
Oh my god.
bro. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Thank God we
Yeah,
got the expansion pass and not like
oh
Ultra
my.
Sword and Ultra Shield. Dude, I can't even
Yeah,
say
I'm
Sword and
very
Shield
glad.
like on its
Yeah.
own.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm
Jesus.
really glad we got that. I mean, we can definitely cover Pokemon in another podcast, cuz that I honestly could talk about my Sword and Shield disappointments for an entire episode, but
Let's
I
just
do it.
do it.
I
Dude,
Yeah.
eventually we should just have
Yeah.
like episode specific things where like whatever we generally rant about in the other episodes, we just get it all out for
Yeah.
one episode. So
Yeah.
like episode 10 is the 3D World episode. Or like, okay, wait, no. The day that they announced 3D World Deluxe, we gotta just record because you already know that I'll be like talking about it for like hours on end. So let's just like hop into the podcast and just record it. And just because like why not? Like if I'm gonna be talking about it regardless, might as well talk in a somewhat productive manner.
Yeah, yeah. I think for a future episode we can definitely do an entire Pokemon rant. I think that'd be kind of fun, and definitely
Yeah.
3D World one. But back to the Breath of the Wild sequel, just so we can move on there. Like I do agree generally with all of your points, and um again with the eerie kind of theme I was talking about that I got from that trailer, or at least that I saw from that trailer. That idea, or the title idea that you had, we talked about it a long time ago, but you suggested like Curse of the Wild. I think that would
A
be like
100%.
amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think that would just be like perfect for it. And like your entire idea about that, Link to the Past concept of changing the worlds and all that. I mean, could be very exciting, and I'm very looking forward to it. And there is a lot of pressure on them to make back to back like really good games. So they can't really mess up with this one. At least I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, they have such a good foundation. It would
Yep.
be hard. Like they would actively have to like
Screw it up.
try
Yeah.
to mess up. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm not really nervous about it. It's more of a hey, will this be another 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? It's not really hey, will this be a 9 out of 10 or like a
Hmm.
will like somehow like delete all the code and just copy and paste in like Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and be like, here's
Oh
Breath of the
god.
Wild too. It's like no, that's not how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah. So I
Anyway,
think I think we can
yeah, of
move on though to the next
course.
topic, talk about the Super Mario 35th anniversary, and if there will be an All-Stars type game, or if they're gonna release it all separately. So I know that you have a very strong opinion about if they're gonna do an All-Stars pack or not. So I'll just leave you to this, and I'll go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I personally think that they're not going to I think that there's no way that they include Super Mario 64 like remastered. I'm going to say remastered. I don't know if it's going to be a remake or if they just, you know, make it look somewhat like okay, but regardless, I don't think there's a single way that they do Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Galaxy and Galaxy 2 all in one game. That's just like that's so un-Nintendo because Nintendo loves to sell you back like games
Yeah.
that you've already played for full price. That's like the one thing that like you can count on. Like Nintendo is such a random company. They do so much random stuff. You can count on them selling back to you games you've already played for full price. I mean, there's so many Switch ports that are like full price. You like if you wanted to buy like Super Mario Bros every time it's available on an official like Nintendo console, like it would be like you would probably go broke. It would probably be the price of like a full $60 game to be
Hmm.
honest, because it's like available on the Wii Shop, which obviously doesn't exist anymore. The Wii U eShop, the 3DS, I'm sure has it. Maybe even the DSi, I'm not sure. But like the thing is with them, like they'll sell you back the same game so often. So I do not see any feasible way where they include all those games in one $60 price thing and sell it. I think what they're going to do is, and I've said this since pretty much the
The
second that like this
rumors
stuff
were.
was announced.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine are both going to get like not from the ground up remakes. Maybe Super Mario 64 will get from the ground up and Sunshine will just
Um.
get like a HD version similar to Wind
Yeah.
Waker HD. I think both of those games are going to either be bundled together or separately, just dependent on how much work they do on Super Mario 64. If it's like a full-on remake, then that's being sold as its own thing. There's no way they bundle it in with Sunshine. But yeah, I think those two are the only question mark. Besides that, I think there's a Galaxy pack of 1 and 2 and Super Mario 3D World Deluxe. I don't think there's any way that like they're they don't like I don't think there's any way they pull out of this Mario remaster thing, assuming that they are re-releasing all prior 3D Mario games, or home console ones at least. Rest in peace, 3D Land.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single way that they pull out of that without like packaging at least three games, being a Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, which is on its own. I think everyone agrees with that. Super Mario Galaxy something, and then I don't know what they'll do with the other ones, but That's just my thought. I see a lot of people saying, "Hey, what if the 3D World Deluxe is included with like no, there's no way. I swear, like I will
Included with what? 3D
like
Land?
included with no, I mean
Oh,
included with
oh.
sorry, I should have been more clear. Like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the other
All good.
3D Marios. Like I've seen people say
Okay.
Super Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, and 3D World are all going to be in one $60 game. It's like
Hmm.
what? Like, what are you talking about? There's no feasible way that Nintendo ever does something like that. I mean, if they do, I mean, props to them. That's incredibly pro-consumer. But like, that's so unlikely. I don't know.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on that one though?
yeah, I mean, like when I think about the prices of like games like that, I always use the example of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, I think it's called.
Yeah,
I couldn't
you
tell you.
got it. You got it.
I mean, like that's a full priced game. Like that is ridiculous. The title alone makes me cringe every time I hear it or say it or even like look at it. Like, oh, like they would definitely charge like full price for 3D World. I don't think that's like a question. I mean, they could definitely do very well with full price, but talk about your Super Mario 64 and Sunshine point. Starting with Super Mario 64. I mean, they did remake that game on the DS. Adding a lot of
Hmm.
content. Like characters Yoshi, Wario, and Luigi, I believe.
There were even
So
new levels, I think.
yeah, yeah. So if they were to remake that again on top of all that content, would be I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I mean, it would be cool, but like you just remake the same game twice? Like would they
Yeah, it's
go
kind
off
of
the
weird.
base would they go off the base of the 64 game and do something different and have it like more Mario centric, or would they do that same sort of style they did for 64 DS and have all those characters in again and then like add even more content and like maybe add Waluigi as like a playable character or something? Like, that's a question that you can think about. And for Sunshine, um I do agree with you that it's going to be mostly like if it were to come out, I think it would be like mostly just graphics. Like I talked about this in my Sunshine video when the rumors first surfaced. I think it would just be quality of life improvements and like fixing those glitches from the old games and all that. Like how I made jokes about Mario walking underwater and being Jesus and everything.
Oh yeah.
Um, just fixing stuff like that. Maybe adding a few more levels, some references to old Mario games or new Mario games in the game. Pretty much that's about it for Sunshine. I think that would do pretty well. And yeah, I mean 3D World Deluxe and all that stuff definitely coming. And just to add on to these rumors, having that Paper Mario game announced, like we don't know if it's gonna follow the criteria that was, suggested in the original post, talking about how Paper Mario game was gonna be sort of Thousand Year Door styled, and we have yet to see that. I don't know what is classified as Thousand Year Door style because the battle system is definitely not that. Like, unless it's
Yeah.
some sort of exception. Like I don't know, but um, I mean, I guess we'll see because we barely know anything about the game. We've just seen like a reveal trailer, so hopefully we'll have more gameplay and more info later on. And just answering the kind of question of the segment, is there going to be an All-Stars pack? I don't think so. I agree with you. I think they would. I honestly think they would release them separately. And honestly, full priced. I mean, I can see the Galaxy 1 and 2 packs coming. And obviously those would just have like graphical improvements from the Wii, obviously. And
Hmm.
they'd have to figure out a way to have the Joy Cons emulate how the Wiimote and Nunchuck worked. And we've talked about that before, thinking how it's not a problem whatsoever. But yeah, I don't
Hmm.
think there's gonna be a pack of the games altogether. I think Galaxy 1 and 2 get a pack. I think Sunshine separate. 64, I'm a little, I don't know, because it's already been remade. And 3D World Deluxe, 100%. Like, no
Let's
way.
go,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, honestly, I think yeah, it's such a weird set of rumors, right?
Hmm.
Because the
Yep.
rumors really emphasized Super Mario 64, which would be
Yep.
the one I don't think would be coming. So it's
Yeah,
just
I was
like
really confused. Yeah.
it's just so bizarre. Like, I feel like if they were gonna port games, obviously, okay, I'm not even gonna mention 3D World, already confirmed to be coming. Not actually, but come on. Then you got what's it called? Oh yeah, the Galaxy games, bro. The Galaxy games are so easy to port. Those would be like this, like I don't even. They
That'd be
would
the
be so
easiest, I would
easy.
think. That would
Yeah,
have to be the
you
easiest. Yeah,
all
they
you,
just have to figure out how to like do the controls, which is we talked about.
bro,
I think would be
100%.
kind of
Yeah,
easy. Yeah.
the controls are the easiest thing to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just give the player the same exact cursor that they gave in Captain Toad and would have to give for some 3D world levels if they didn't change the way the touch blocks work. Give the player the exact same cursor, and I mean, yeah, it's that easy. Or give them the second analog stick and allow them to use that like they did on the Nvidia Shield version. I mean, like I mean, those two solutions are literally the simplest things you could do. Like it's not hard at all from a
Yep.
coding standpoint. So I don't understand how, like, I think that Galaxy games also, no textures besides maybe menu textures would need to be reworked for those games. The actual models and the in-game textures that are like mapped onto like objects look so good in HD already. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
emulate those games on Dolphin and put them up to like even 4K, they look
Upscale, yeah.
perfectly fine. Yeah,
Yep.
so it would not, like, the only thing that confuses me about this entire situation is that I'm pretty sure the rumors at least mentioned Galaxy, but the headlining thing was Super Mario 64. So it's like, well, in that case, is Super Mario 64 going to get that, Crash Bandicoot style of remaster? With the Insane Trilogy, where they just completely from the ground up, like they don't even take any, source code. The only thing the original game is being used for is like the level design and that sort of thing. Are they going to do that with Super Mario 64? And if so, like,
It's
it's so bizarre.
yeah, it's definitely weird, and we still have to ask that question about, is it gonna be like the DS version that they're gonna base it off, or are they gonna go from the N64 and just do that? Like
Bro.
it's really difficult because they're two very different games, but they're the same at at the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like there's a bunch of different characters. There's certain characters that you have to go as to have certain collectibles and enter certain areas. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time, but it's a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely. I think that game is going to be the hardest to like remake, I guess. And then the Galaxy games would be definitely the easiest, and then everything in between. Or no, the easiest would be 3D World, but then after that would definitely be whatever I just said, brain fart.
Yeah. I mean, no, I know what you mean. It's just so bizarre. The entire situation is just like kind of nuts. I guess though the bright side is, and just to kind of end off or round off this Super Mario 35th anniversary discussion, is the bright side is the um the games will be announced, I would say, pretty soon. Like if Paper Mario
Yeah,
comes out in July, we could even say that, hey, okay, maybe Nintendo doesn't announce a new game in June. It would be kind of weird considering this was when all their games were supposed to be announced, so to not announce a single one in
yeah,
June would be kind of
yeah,
weird. But let's say that they don't, because they're gonna just ride off the Pokemon hype, and then we'll get a Sakurai Arms thing. Fine,
yeah.
that's okay. Then come July, we will have to get a game announcement, because they're not going to have, like, it come July and Paper Mario. Once Paper Mario comes out, we will literally have zero, count them, zero games that we know about in the future that have actual dates. We know of Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4, neither of which have dates, neither of which are coming out in
Yeah,
2020.
we've heard basically nothing about those two games, so
Yeah,
it's huge. I think. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like we could get these in August, July,
yeah.
something like that.
Of
I mean,
course. I
very
mean, we
possible.
need to, like, an announcement for them at
Hmm.
least in July. If not in June, 100% July for at least maybe 3D World Deluxe, maybe Super Mario 64 HD. Like, one of them has to be announced in July, I would think. Unless, of course, those are all going to be later in the year, and we get something weird like Pikmin 3 Deluxe, maybe for June. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like we're gonna
Like
have to get some
yeah.
sort of game announcement in July, is
Yeah.
what I'm, yeah, just trying to say.
Yeah, I think the fact that I find it funny always thinking about Pikmin because before it was said that Pikmin 4 was like 100% completed on the Wii U, and then you
Oh
just
my
like look
god.
back on it and it's like, wait, that game never came out. Hang on. So it's
I
like,
know, it's so weird.
like where is it, man? Where is it? Like I'm not the biggest Pikmin fan, but I do feel for those fans that, said yeah, so Pikmin 4 is done, but like we haven't talked about it in like what is it, 5 years? So
Unlucky.
um yeah, I mean that's that. That's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can move on to our question segment though, if you're
All
done with
right,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Of course. I
All
spoke my
right.
piece.
Okay, let's pull it up here. Okay. So, first question here we got from Danny. He says, "Question for next episode: Do you think there's any possibility of a new Labo kit or any news related?" Yeah, I really haven't touched Labo at all. I highly
No,
doubt
I've
that
never
there's even
bought one.
gonna. Yeah, I
I
don't
never
even.
bought a single one.
I don't really care for Labo a lot. I don't think. I think they should just like let it die. Like I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna
They
answer your
sold
question. No,
cardboard.
no, there's no way. I do not think there's no Labo. I understand that a lot of people did like it. I'm not gonna talk shit about it because I never actually bought it, so I don't really
Me
feel like
neither.
I'm in the
Yep.
right to like talk about it. I am going to say though that the core marketing of Labo was to get kids to buy that sort of thing, like get those inventive kids to buy that sort of thing. But those same kids also own a Switch, so chances are if their parents are going to get them like an $80 essentially like cardboard looking thing or like a $60 video game that they'd probably play for a lot longer, chances are most of the parents are going to get them like Mario Odyssey instead of cardboard, even though Labo is somewhat educational. Therefore, I don't think it sold well at all and definitely didn't catch on like Nintendo was hoping. So I would not be surprised if Labo is done, unfortunately.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, okay. Next question from Austin. Do you guys plan on getting cameras? We actually do have cameras, webcams ready. We're going to be implementing them probably in a future episode in a couple
Mhm.
of and maybe next episode or a couple of episodes down the line. We're just trying to figure out the best way to set up an overlay, and that sort of thing. Just and we're just getting comfortable into the podcasting like swing of things before introducing Facecam. But yeah, don't that is coming. So, for those of you YouTube viewers, then yeah, I mean, look forward to that, I guess.
Yep. Agreed. Obviously, yeah, we got to figure out a layout for it and just best time for it at least. Yeah. So next up, we got Pack Blickty, and I got it right this time. So
Let's go.
last two I screwed it up, so finally got it. And he asked, "Do you think Super Mario Party 2 could be the holiday game for this year?" Now, I never bought this, but Thomas has a mini rant of rage. I'm sure he can talk about for this point because you were pretty unhappy with Super Mario Party, right?
Oh yeah, it sucked. No, I like I do think Super Mario Party 2 is coming, which does kind of piss me off because I feel like we should have gotten extra content in Super Mario Party 1 instead of
Making a
them just
sequel?
scurrying off
Yep.
to make a sequel because that's where more money is. However, I don't think it's going to come out this holiday season. I think even if they had it 100% finished and ready for this holiday, they wouldn't release it because this is a game that you get to be social. And I mean, who knows, honestly, if social distancing will still be a thing this holiday. Sounds like it probably will, just in a
Mm-hmm.
lesser extent. So I don't think they'd even want to release it then. Regardless, I don't think the game is ready yet because I just don't. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't think they're going to release a Mario Party so close to Super Mario Party, considering that they're both on the same console and would be relatively similar titles.
Yeah, I agree. It really wouldn't make a lot of sense doing that. I mean, like that's the issue they run into with Mario Kart. I mean, like I'm sure that they kind of want to make a sequel, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is on the Switch and it's already doing so well. I mean, and it's
Mm-hmm.
still doing so well. It's like the top selling game for the
Bro,
Switch
same with
from
Mario Party. Mario
yeah.
Party, I think,
Uh,
just hit 10 million copies or something like that, which
yeah.
is
So
stupid because that game is not that good. But
yeah. It's just the name. I mean, that's the issue that you run into.
yeah,
So
a
I
hundred
really I
percent.
really wish that they would make DLC for those games instead of just kind of like laying them out to die. Like for example, Super Mario Maker 2. I think we were both in disagreement there where they shouldn't have ended content so early, and the idea of Super Mario Party 2,
Yeah.
and like even Odyssey, I guess, just kind of sucks.
Yep. Unlucky. Although, just to finish that off, I do think that Mario Maker 2 and Odyssey had enough content to justify them
Yeah,
being full
yeah, yeah.
games. I think the reason that I'm so mad with Mario Party is that game did not have enough content built into it. So
Hmm.
it was just a gut punch, dude. When that game got no content, it's
Hmm.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
what I'm just trying to say with like those two games, and sorry, I'll let you go in a second, but
no,
what I'm
it's
trying to
fine.
say with those two games is that there was a opportunity for them to have DLC and for it to like
Oh,
really
for
do
sure,
good,
yeah.
like that Delfino Plaza, world, or just Delfino Island itself, like that
Yeah.
world. I think DLC could have done pretty well. It could have had like a mini storyline, a little throwback. And you could even throw like other Mario universe like game worlds into that, like from Galaxy or anything. So missed
Definitely.
opportunities, for example, with that, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah. Next up, question from Ethan Mastercrafter saying, Q&A. First off, hi. Hello, Ethan. Second of all, what is your opinion on Sonic the Hedgehog? I'm gonna 100% let PJ take this one. Okay, I've played the Mario and Sonic games at the Olympics. I've also played about 20 minutes worth of Sonic Mania, and I just do not like the gameplay. Even though
Yeah,
that's considered to be one of the best Sonic games, I just do not like Sonic gameplay. I don't know what it is. I just never got into it, and it's just not for me. Yeah, I cannot stand playing Sonic games. I don't know why.
yeah,
Something about it. Just the control. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't like
So Sonic games that I've played are like with this one on the DS, like I can't even remember what it's called. I couldn't tell you either. I played Sonic Adventure 2, which was, obviously the best, I think. I think that's kind of like widely agreed. Very good game. Uh I played Sonic 4, and other than that, I have not touched the series. Nothing has really appealed me. And I'm going to be honest, I did unfortunately buy Sonic 06 before it was widely known that it was a complete joke. And ever since then, I haven't really been into the series that much. I'm going to be completely honest. So, I mean, Sonic is a cool character, but the games have just kind of fell off for me, at least. It just hasn't really like interested me a lot. The topic of Sonic games not being consistent for a long time is definitely something that has been an issue for those fans. But I'm
it. Yeah.
not exactly a committed Sonic fan like anyone I know, I guess. So next up, we have a question from Amund here, and he says, "What will Thomas do slash say if Super Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2 get released for the Switch, but not 3D World?" So take it away.
Bro, dude, I actually don't know what I would do. I would probably just like, I would, I don't even know. Like, it's just that's such a foreign thought to me because in my mind, 3D World for Switch is already confirmed,
Confirmed.
even though,
Yeah.
you know, it hasn't been. Just because, like, that's just the way my brain thinks. Like, everyone has, like, said it's coming. Like, anyone in, like, the video game industry is like, yeah, this is, like, confirmed. And, like, I've even heard from people who have, like, DM'd me. I'm not going to obviously say anything, but, like, somewhat, like, insider people being like, yeah, it's happening. So it's like, there's no way that it's not. Like, I'm
I think it'd be
so
hilarious.
convinced. Bro, of course you would. You think you would probably be cackling it up over there. I would be
I
pissed. I would be
would.
so mad. Bro, I don't even know. I'd like punch a wall probably. I don't know.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it didn't come, oh my god, dude. Like I don't even know what I'd do cuz like we're so adamant on it coming. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Yeah,
All
anyway,
right.
moving on.
Although, hold on. This next question, guys, anyone who's listened, what are we like? We're like basically 40 minutes into the podcast
Yep.
now. Anyone who's listened this far, you're gonna get a bit of a sneak peek into an upcoming video. Or an upcoming huge video. It's the one I've been teasing on
Oh
Twitter
yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot and all that.
Crazy.
Um, so Callum Nicole says, what would you like to see in potential DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? New characters, game modes, battle modes, etc. So I'm going to say that in a future video that is probably the biggest project I have undertaken on this channel, um, I am going to be, it's not all about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, but that'll be a topic in that. So you will see my in-depth thoughts in this future video. But for now, I will
Mm.
just say, yeah, I mean, like I don't think DLC will probably happen. I know I made a couple of videos talking about it, but I
The fun
just
idea
the
to
way
think
this
about.
year has been gone. Yeah, I mean it's so fun to think about because I love Mario Kart. New characters, bro. Take the characters from Mario Kart Tour. Honestly, like there are some sick characters in that game now.
Yeah.
Dixie Kong's in the game, Funky Kong. Even some of the reskins look sick. Like I know you were kind of making fun of it, calling it a cash grab, PJ, but that
Yeah, yeah,
gold dry
it is.
Bowser looks clean as hell.
Yeah.
Like I actually like the way it looks. And same with they have a gold dry bones in that game.
Hmm.
Yeah, like all those characters, bro. Just put them in as costumes for the other ones, like
Yeah.
Aurora, Rosalina, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like all that stuff's really cool.
I mean, I think,
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. Of
I just want to kind of interject there.
course,
I mean, I think they should have done like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. Like, obviously, all that extra content is like
100%. Yeah,
the Wii U DLC, but like it's included. But it, it's just such a missed opportunity. Again, like talk about those reskins. Like they could charge like 129 for some of those reskins, for example, or whatever. Or, they could add in, I don't know, Captain Falcon, who has, like a me costume in that game, I believe. I
yeah.
forget.
Me costume. He's
Yeah, has a
got
me
his
costume. He
his
has a
his
track. He
signature
has,
car.
yeah,
The
signature
Blue
car
Falcon
too.
is in there.
Like, it literally makes no sense at all. I don't understand, like, why he's not in. But, Funky Kong is definitely a nice Mario Kart Wii throwback. Dixie Kong, definitely. It just doesn't make sense. And you could even put like more cups in, more tracks. I mean, there's so much they could do with the game, but for some reason they haven't included it, which makes me think that they would, maybe be making a Mario Kart 9 where they could put all this stuff, and they're just kind of like, letting 8 Deluxe die out, I suppose. But like, I don't know how
I
long
don't
that's gonna take, but
know. Yeah.
if they're not planning to do Mario Kart 9, recently, or like, coming up in the next few years at least, like they need to just do DLC Raid Deluxe. Like it's such a missed opportunity. So
Bro, and freaking Captain Toad got DLC.
yeah,
Captain Toad. Bro, I love that game more than most people because, it's a spin-off of 3D World. It's in the same engine. Therefore, I've 100%ed it on the Wii U, and I'm pretty damn close on the Switch. Um, why the hell did Captain Toad get paid DLC plus numerous free updates, including big things like co op? Yet Mario Kart 8 Deluxe got one piece of substantial DLC, and it was a reskin for the Link character, giving him Breath of the Wild stuff with a new
yeah,
bike and like. Oh my god, Nintendo is so infuriating sometimes. Like especially with DLC. Like that's the one thing that Nintendo just like why? Why would you give Captain Toad DLC but not like your best selling game on the Switch? I don't know. I don't even know. Weird,
agreed.
kind of weird, champ.
Yep. Moving on, we have a question from No Noah saying your opinions on what the top 5 baddest Nintendo games and top 5 baddest consoles / handhelds. So I'm gonna assume that obviously you're talking about like the best Nintendo games and the best consoles and handhelds. So I'm not gonna like do a top 5 order because I'm just not prepared, but I'll just give you my favorite consoles off the top of my head. The Switch, the Wii, the GameCube, the 3DS, and oh, that's hard. No, the original DS instead of the 3DS, and Game Boy Advance, SP, definitely. Those are my top 5 consoles and games. Oh my. That's hard. Smash Ultimate. This is out of order, by the way. Smash Ultimate. Odyssey is really good. Sunshine. Oh man. Diamond and Pearl. Dude, this is hard.
Bro, that's rough. I could not do that. I'm
Oh,
glad I'm not answering this question. I like there's no way I would be able to choose 5.
I'm just
I
trying to
could
think.
pick maybe 3 and then I'd have to call it quits.
Would have to. Oh, Pokemon Emerald. There you go. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, those. I mean,
Yeah.
you
I
can
mean,
just give like a small just
of
like a
course.
small list if you want. If you're not like
Baddest.
thinking that
Okay,
much.
I don't. When he says baddest, does he mean worst or baddest as in like good?
Like
Like
I'm
that's
gonna I'm gonna assume good, and if we were mistaken, then we can just go by it like really quickly next episode. It's no big deal.
yeah.
But
Okay.
I would assume with the way he phrased it.
Yeah. Okay. Baddest. If you're referring baddest as in good, like that's bad. That was the stupidest thing I think I've ever said. I'm just trying not to use the obvious example. I'd probably say the Game Boy Advance SP. Classic classic console, I'd probably say Switch 100%, Wii U.
Ooh,
Bro,
really?
yeah, dog. I'd say Wii U because Wii U had some
3D
banging
World.
games. Okay, well, yeah, facts. Um, bro, I don't even know. I'm just gonna cap it off at 3 and say that. I'm gonna say Switch, Wii U, and Game Boy Advance SP.
And
Um,
what about for games? I mean, obviously 3D World.
games.
I mean, you don't
Okay,
even have to mention that, but like,
5
what
games.
else?
Here we go. Boom. Pokemon Sapphire, the game that probably means the most to me in like an emotional sense. Super
Ooh,
Mario
yes.
3D World, probably one of my favorite games of all time. No, really. Mario Kart 8. Yeah, I'll say Mario Kart 8. Um, 8 or 8 Deluxe, don't really care. I've just had so many good memories, playing that game with like friends. I'm gonna go Splatoon 2. No, Splatoon 1 on the Wii U.
Never played
Um,
it.
I've never been more excited for a game to release than when that game was coming out.
Really?
Like
Wow.
I watched every single review that was on YouTube. Like I specifically remember looking up like Splatoon review when the embargo dropped, and I scrolled through and I watched every single one until I got to like page 3 on YouTube when they were like the Spanish YouTubers were doing the reviews, and I couldn't understand, but I just watched for the gameplay. Like I was so incredibly excited for that game.
That's funny.
And I think that's 4. So, eh, um, I'm gonna leave it at that. I can't think of another one.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, we probably should have been prepared, but it, whatever.
Screw it. Okay. Next up, we're gonna hit him with the question from. Oh, I think we skipped one, PJ. I'm gonna go back to Lucky Goxer.
Oh, we did. Yeah, my fault.
Yeah. Do you think? No, it's all good. Do you think 3D Land will be fully remade in 3D World style, or do you think they will, just package it as an extra game and 3D World will be a standalone game, or do you think it won't even come at all? Realistically, I don't think it'll come at all. I think 3D Land is dead on the 3DS. What I would want to see happen though is it packaged in with the 3D World. And just to give more explanation on that, literally just go to the Switch Stop channel and look up like 3D World concept trailer. I made a full we remodeled the 3D Land first level in HD in the 3D World art style. So yeah, I mean, I talked a whole lot about that more in depth in that video.
Um, that's hard. I feel like no, honestly. I don't think that I think 3D Land is just gonna be left as it is. I mean,
Hmm.
like it would be kind of cool to think about, but like I mean they're making 3D World anyway, so I think it's kind of pointless to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Moving on, we have a question from Jameson. He says, "What's happening next in the world of Mario sports? Is golf inevitable, or might we see another striker slash sluggers resurrected from the Wii era? Perhaps a different sport altogether, like ice hockey." Um, I'll just answer first because like I think I've played more Mario sports games. I mean, I made a video about Super Mario Strikers, and I really want Strikers 3 to come to Switch. And sluggers would be cool too, but like it's so hard for me to put belief into that when they just almost have forgotten about it. Like you see concepts from like the strikers game um in like the Olympic games for example. So like it's
Hmm.
really hard for me to kind of say like yeah, I mean I think it's coming, but I don't know, man. Like I hope, but I don't think so, unfortunately. I mean golf, I don't know, man. I feel like that's a little past its time. Like, I don't think it would do very good. Like, I don't know. Mario Ice Hockey, like, I don't know. I think if we were to get another Mario sports game, it would be, strikers or sluggers, like you said, but I'm a little doubtful, to be honest.
I mean, the dream for me is Mario Hoops. Besides that,
Oh,
I
yeah.
do not care in the slightest. Okay, I'm gonna move on to what is that, bro? This comment is so small. Ballistic, do I can't. PJ, what does that say? I can't even see what it says. The
I
screen
got you.
cap,
I got you.
the screen cap is
I
like.
got you. I got you. Don't worry
All
about
right,
it. Don't worry
thank
about
you,
it.
thank you.
So we have a question from Ballistic Dub. He says, "Hi, I love all your vids. Thank you. But do you think that instead of doing N64 or GameCube online, that Nintendo could do a game cartridge of N64 or GameCube games and update them monthly or something like that?" So you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. No, I don't think Nintendo would do that because from the way I'm interpreting from you saying it, it would literally just be the same thing as N64 GameCube Online, except you buy the cartridge, which I don't think Nintendo would do that because they probably honestly get more money from including it with the online because it encourages a lot more people to go buy the online because a lot of people would want it for the N64 GameCube. Obviously, that's also a subscription, so you get it for much longer and you don't have to pay the manufacturing cost to make a cartridge. So personally, I just do not think that would happen. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, in the last video, I talked about N64 GameCube Online. I mean, I think N64 Online can, or could be coming. I mean, I hope so. Because in the last video, I was talking about how I just wanted to make the Switch Online benefits worth the dollar, and it's not like it's super expensive, but like NES and SNES games, like I mean, I've played them a lot, so I don't really have any interest in
Mhm.
them, but S64 Online would be really cool, and GameCube Online, I mean, I think that's a little far ways away of even a thought, but maybe they could release them on the eShop for $20 or something like that, like I suggested. You never know, but it's definitely a cool concept to think about. I hope we do get there eventually, but I guess we'll have to see.
All right,
Um,
and last but not least, I got this one. I opened it up in a different tab so I can read
okay,
it.
all right.
Okay, thank you for all the questions, by the way, guys. This is the last one, but before I read it, just letting you guys know you can leave questions in the comments of the YouTube video or tweet it at us at Nintendo Tonight on Twitter. Here we go. Last question from Tesla Guy. Hello and greetings from Britain. Hello. British person. I don't know. I don't know where I was gonna go with that. I've just got a little question that I'd like to ask you in regards to Odyssey 2, not 3D World, and that's all the time we have for today. So thank you guys. No, I'll finish reading the question. Uh, if you could make any kingdom in that game, being Odyssey 2, what would you make? Mine would be a type of airport kingdom. Um, okay, that's a really, there's so many choices, but PJ, I'm gonna let you answer this because I already know you have an idea because we talked about this before the
Mhm.
podcast. So while I think of mine, you just, talk about yours.
Yeah, so definitely that I would like to see like a kingdom in Odyssey 2. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Delfino Island. I mean, it was in concept art, or promotional art, I should say, when the game was about to come out, and they removed it from the globe of Odyssey. Like, I don't know if they scrapped the idea or if they like I don't know. It just wasn't in the game, but I have maybe speculated that they were waiting to put this in Odyssey 2 because there was already like sort of a throwback kingdom with the Super Mario 64 one. I can't remember what it's called because I haven't played the game in forever, but maybe this is going to be like a future theme of putting like throwback kingdoms in Odyssey. You never know, but I think that Delfino is going to be in the next Odyssey game, and my thinking to at least why they cut out Delfino out of the globe is because maybe they were hinting at it coming next game because obviously it wasn't DLC. So
Yeah,
Odyssey 2 I think is when that's going to come, and I really do hope so because I'm a big fan of Sunshine.
of course. To answer this relatively, briefly, because I could honestly fill an entire video about this, I would say some sort of amusement park kingdom. Now, whether this is an amusement park based on, a more realistic take, such as Baby Park from Mario Kart 8, or a water park from that same game, or even the first map. I don't exactly know what it's called, but the first map in Mario Party 10 on the Wii U was an amusement park theme. Whether it's a more realistic take, like something like that, or something similar to World Bowser of Super Mario 3D World, where it's like all neon and electric. I think both of those would be really cool. Some sort of amusement park. There was even an amusement park in Sunshine. I forget what it's called
Yep.
though. Yeah, like some sort of an amusement park style thing would be really neat. Imagine capturing a roller coaster car and then some sort of like mini game plays there, or capturing a different ride or one of those like spinning teacup things to slingshot yourself across the park. Or there's so many things that could be built into that. It's sort of the New Donk City approach of like it's taking a place that like isn't like inherently crazy. Like amusement parks are, there's a lot going on, but it's not inherently like something like a lava filled dungeon like Mario would normally run around.
Mhm.
And similar to New Donk City took the city and made it like a platforming jungle gym. I think that would be very easy to do with an amusement park, and it would be very cool. So I'd like to see something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's not really too much else to say. There's really just infinite ideas you could have for that. So
Yeah.
yeah, amusement park would be my final answer though.
Yeah, an amusement park. Oh my god, English. Was in Sunshine. I believe it's pronounced Pinna Park or
Oh
something
yeah, yeah, yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Hopefully I didn't butcher it because it's a little old and I don't really recite the worlds. So
In your spare
that's
time,
gonna
you're just
be
going through like Corona
yeah.
Mountain, Bianca Hills,
Bad
just in
timing
case
with
we
that
ever
one, by
bring
the
it up.
way. Bad timing.
Oh no, did I say Corona Mountain, bro? I made a joke about that in one of the
Yeah,
Mario Kart videos.
yeah, yeah. So that's going to be the end of our question segment. And before we move on to the full outro, just want to say once again that you guys remember that we are going to be switching over to the Nintendo Tonight channel for the full podcast episodes from now on after this episode. Now, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, this obviously does not affect you. But if you're watching on YouTube, then the Nintendo Tonight channel will be linked below. We're going to be uploading or re-uploading all of the first 4 episodes on that channel. And after that, we're just going to be uploading, all new episodes on there, along with highlights of the future episodes. So you guys can, if you're a new listener, you can get a sneak peek before you commit to listening to the whole 50-plus minute podcast. And yeah.
Yeah. So with that out of the way, if you guys are still here, this is probably the longest podcast we've ever done. We're
Yep.
approaching, something like
We
55
yeah
minutes.
we took a very long time doing the questions. We over answered them, I think, but it's okay.
Oh well,
Yeah.
we'll choose next questions or less questions to talk about next time. But anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. The podcast is mad fun for us to record, and it means a lot that you guys do enjoy it. The comments we see and the tweets we get, all the positive encouragement, it really does. It means a lot, and we see it all. So we want to thank you guys for that. As always, I've been Thomas, and I still am Thomas, but in this particular episode, I've been Thomas. Thank you. Obviously, you can follow me on Twitter at SwitchedUp and follow PJ at PJ_SwitchedUp, right? That's
Yep.
your tag? All right.
Correct.
Perfect.
Correct.
Didn't butcher it. All right. Thank you guys all so much for watching. And this has been the 4th ever episode of Nintendo Tonight.